Ambassador James Walker stood at the viewing deck of the Earth's flagship Peaceful Intent watching as the massive space station of Glory Prime grew larger in the distance. The station's golden spires and massive energy rings marked it as the heart of the stellar empire, a civilization that ruled over 300 star systems with an iron fist. "Nervous, sir?" asked Tom Reed, his young assistant, joining him at the window. Walker adjusted his formal diplomatic uniform, its dark blue fabric decorated with the simple golden emblem of United Earth. "Not nervous, Tom. Cautious. The Empire has ruled this part of space for 1,000 years. They won't like that we've developed faster-than-light travel in just 50 years." The ship's captain spoke through the intercom. "Ambassador, Imperial customs ships are approaching. They're demanding immediate inspection." "Let them come," Walker replied. "Hide nothing, but show nothing extra." He had rehearsed this moment countless times. Humanity's first official contact with the stellar empire needed to go perfectly. The inspection teams arrived in their shining silver shuttles. The Imperial officers wore elaborate uniforms with dozens of medals and ranks that Walker had studied for months. Their leader, a tall man with perfect posture, introduced himself as Inspector Reynolds. "Your ship is surprisingly advanced," Reynolds said, trying to hide his shock as his teams reported back. "For primitives who just learned to break light speed." Walker smiled politely. "We're quick learners, Inspector. Earth united under a single government 30 years ago. It's amazing what humans can do when we work together." The inspection took 3 hours. Walker's team of 20 diplomats and their military escort, led by Admiral Stone, stood patiently as the Imperial officers scanned everything twice. The Empire's people moved with the casual arrogance of those who had never faced a real challenge to their power. Finally, they'd reached the secure briefcase containing Earth's official proposals. Inside were data crystals showing humanity's technological progress, trade offers, and requests for peaceful cooperation. Walker knew the Empire's leaders would be shocked by how fast humans had advanced, but he hoped they would see the benefits of friendship over conflict. "These will be presented to the High Council tomorrow," Reynolds said, sealing the briefcase with Imperial stamps. "You and your team will be escorted to the diplomatic quarters. The Emperor himself might attend your presentation." Walker nodded, keeping his face neutral even as his heart raced. Emperor Marcus II hadn't attended a first contact presentation in 50 years. This could be humanity's big chance. The diplomatic quarters were massive but cold, all metal and sharp angles. Walker's team settled into their rooms while Admiral Stone's security personnel did quiet sweeps for surveillance devices. They found 37 hidden cameras and microphones in the first hour alone. That evening, Walker gathered his team for final preparations. "Remember," he said, looking at each face in turn, "we represent not just Earth, but humanity's potential. The Empire needs to see us as equals, not subjects. Be proud but not arrogant, confident but not threatening." Admiral Stone, a practical woman with graying hair and sharp eyes, added her own warning. "And watch your backs. My people don't like how the Imperial guards are positioned. They're set up more for containment than protection." Later that night, as Glory Prime's artificial sun dimmed to simulate evening, Walker stood again at a window, this time looking out at the countless ships moving through the Empire's capital. Somewhere out there, Emperor Marcus II was probably reading reports about Earth, making judgments that would affect billions of lives. Walker touched the small metal pin on his collar, a personal good luck charm made from steel taken from the old United Nations building. Humanity had overcome its own wars, its own divisions, to reach the stars. Whatever happened tomorrow, he would show the Empire that humans deserved their place among the galactic powers. If only he knew that it would be his last night alive, and that his death would set in motion events that would shake the galaxy to its foundations. The High Council chamber of Glory Prime stretched up into darkness, its walls lined with the flags of 300 conquered worlds. Ambassador Walker stood at the center of the circular floor, surrounded by rising tiers of seats filled with the Empire's most powerful leaders. The air felt heavy with centuries of tradition and power. Emperor Marcus II sat on his elevated throne, looking down at the human delegation with cold eyes. He was younger than Walker expected, perhaps 40, with sharp features and a perfectly trimmed beard. His golden crown contained jewels from 100 different worlds. "Proceed with your presentation, Ambassador," the Emperor said, his voice carrying easily through the vast chamber. Walker activated the holographic display. The room filled with images of Earth's achievements. Massive space stations, terraforming projects on Mars, ships that could cross the galaxy in weeks instead of months. "In just 50 years, Walker explained, humanity has gone from our first steps into space to mastering technologies that rival the Empire's best." Angry whispers filled the chamber. Admiral Stone, standing at the back with the security team, noticed Imperial guards moving closer to the exits. "You claim these achievements are yours alone?" asked Lord Richards, the Empire's Minister of Science. "Without any outside help." "All our own," Walker confirmed. "Humanity has a unique gift for innovation. We would be honored to share our discoveries with the Empire in exchange for fair trade and diplomatic recognition." The Emperor leaned forward. "And if we choose not to trade? If we decide Earth should submit to Imperial rule, like all other worlds?" The chamber grew silent. Walker kept his voice steady. "With respect, Your Majesty, Earth will never submit to outside rule. We come as equals, offering friendship. We hope the Empire is wise enough to accept it." "Friendship," the Emperor laughed, and others joined him. "You are children playing with powers you don't understand. Show them what true power looks like." A holographic display changed, showing Imperial warships destroying entire planets. "These are recordings from our last war," said General Williams, his uniform heavy with medals. "Any world that defies the Empire faces extinction." Walker didn't flinch. "We've studied those battles, General. Your tactics are a century old. Earth's defenses are designed to counter them." The laughter stopped. The Emperor's face darkened with rage. "You dare threaten us?" "Not a threat, Your Majesty. A fact. War between us would be costly for both sides. Peace is the better choice." Admiral Stone watched more guards entering the chamber. She pressed a small button on her uniform, sending a coded warning to the ship. Something was very wrong. "Perhaps," said the Emperor, standing slowly, "we should continue this discussion tomorrow, after we've all had time to consider our positions." Walker bowed slightly, following diplomatic protocol. But as his team turned to leave, he saw the hatred in the Emperor's eyes. He touched his communication device, sending a message to Earth. "They fear what we might become." That evening, in their diplomatic quarters, Admiral Stone doubled the guards. "They've cut our direct communications with the ship," she told Walker. "And there are Imperial troops gathering in every corridor." "Can we escape?" Walker asked, already knowing the answer. "Not without starting a war." Walker nodded, sitting down to record one final message. "To Earth's leaders. The Empire will never accept us as equals. They would rather kill us than admit that humanity might surpass them. Whatever happens next, remember that we came in peace, and remember who chose violence instead." Outside their windows, Glory Prime's artificial sun was setting again. Imperial ships moved through the darkness, taking up attack positions. In his palace, Emperor Marcus II signed the death warrant for the entire human delegation. The Empire had ruled the galaxy through fear for 1,000 years. They wouldn't let some upstart species change that. By morning, they thought, the threat of Earth would be dealt with. They had no idea that their actions tonight would lead to their own destruction. The attack began at midnight. Admiral Stone was checking the security feeds when the screens went black. Emergency lights flashed red across the diplomatic quarters. "They've cut the power," she shouted, grabbing her hidden weapon. Defensive positions. Ambassador Walker rushed to secure the data cores containing their transmission records. The Empire wouldn't just kill them. They would try to erase all evidence of their treachery. The first explosion rocked the building's west wing. Imperial troops poured in through the breach, wearing heavy combat armor. But Earth's security team was ready. They had trained for years for exactly this situation. Protection formation around the ambassador, Stone ordered. Her soldiers moved with practiced speed, their hidden combat suits activating with a soft hum. The Empire wasn't the only one with advanced technology. The first wave of Imperial troops fell back, surprised by the humans' resistance. They had expected to find helpless diplomats. Instead, they met trained soldiers with equipment that matched or exceeded their own. Walker worked frantically at his computer terminal, encrypting their evidence of the Empire's treachery. "Almost done," he called out. "3 more minutes." "You might not have 3 minutes," Stone replied, firing her weapon at another squad of Imperial troops. The energy blast tore through their supposed invincible shields. "They're bringing in heavy weapons." Through the windows, they could see more Imperial ships approaching. The Empire was done with subtlety. They would destroy the entire diplomatic section, if that's what it took. "Transmission starting," Walker announced. He had hidden a quantum communicator in his diplomatic seals, something even the Empire's best sensors couldn't detect. "Sending everything to Earth now." The second explosion took out their main defense barrier. Imperial troops rushed in from 3 directions. Stone's team fought back hard, their advanced weapons leaving shocked expressions on the faces of dying Imperial soldiers. Nobody had told them humans could fight like this. "How long?" Stone shouted over the battle. 60 seconds, Walker replied, protecting the transmitter with his body. "The quantum signal can't be stopped now. Earth will know everything." A massive blast shook the entire floor. Through the smoke came Imperial elite guards, led by General Williams himself. "I warned you about defying the Empire," he snarled. "And we warned you about underestimating Earth," Stone replied. She triggered her last defense, a localized EMP burst that fried every piece of Imperial equipment in range. The elite guards stumbled, their powered armor freezing up. Stone's team cut them down efficiently, but more kept coming. The humans were vastly outnumbered. "Transmission complete," Walker announced. Then a blast hit him in the shoulder, spinning him around. Stone rushed to help him, but took a hit to her leg. "It's done," Walker said, smiling despite the pain. "Earth knows. The Empire just signed its own death warrant." The remaining human security team formed a final circle around Walker. They had killed over 100 Imperial troops, but now they were down to their last weapons and final minutes. General Williams stepped over his fallen men, rage twisting his face. "Kill them all," he ordered. "No survivors." The last battle was quick and violent. Earth's soldiers fought to the end, taking down 3 enemies for every one of them that fell. Admiral Stone's final act was to trigger the self-destruct on all their advanced equipment, denying the Empire access to Earth's technology. Ambassador Walker was the last to fall. As Imperial troops surrounded him, he spoke his final words into his transmitter. "Remember us. Remember why. And make them pay." When the smoke cleared, all 20 members of Earth's diplomatic mission lay dead. The Empire tried to cover up the massacre, claiming the humans had attacked first. They destroyed the diplomatic quarter, erased records, and silenced witnesses. But they were too late. Walker's quantum transmission had reached Earth, and humanity's response would shake the galaxy to its foundations. The United Earth Council chamber was silent as the last images from Ambassador Walker's transmission faded from the giant screen. 500 representatives from every nation on Earth had watched the Empire murder their people. Nobody spoke for a full minute. Council leader Peters stood slowly, his hands shaking with controlled anger. "The Empire has made their choice," he said, his voice heavy with emotion. "Now we make ours." Fleet Admiral Thompson stepped forward. The old soldier's face was grim as he pressed a button on his control panel. The room's holographic display lit up with new images, massive shipyards hidden in asteroid belts, weapons platforms disguised as research stations, and fleets of warships that no one outside Earth's military knew existed. "We didn't show the Empire everything," Thompson explained. "Walker's mission carried old tech, advanced enough to impress them, but nothing close to our real capabilities." The council members murmured in surprise. One representative stood up. "How long have we been preparing for war?" "Since our first deep space scan detected the Empire," Thompson replied. "We knew they wouldn't accept us as equals, so we got ready. Every trade ship we sent out was mapping their defenses. Every diplomatic message helped us crack their codes. We know them better than they know themselves." The display changed to show Earth's hidden strength. Deep inside mountains and beneath oceans, factories had been building advanced weapons for years. The public thought they were producing civilian ships and terraforming equipment. They were actually creating the largest war fleet in human history. 3 days, Thompson continued. "That's how long it will take to mobilize everything. The Empire thinks they have months before we could possibly respond. They believe their act of murder is already covered up." Council Leader Peters nodded. "Show them the Walker Protocol." New images appeared, detailed attack plans for every major Imperial world. Each plan was named after a member of the murdered diplomatic team. Walker's name was assigned to the mission against Glory Prime itself. "Our ships are faster," Thompson explained. "Our weapons are stronger. And our people are ready. The Empire has spent 1,000 years growing soft and arrogant. We've spent 30 years preparing for this exact moment." The council chamber erupted in discussion. Some wanted immediate revenge. Others urged caution. But all agreed the Empire had to pay for what they'd done. Peters raised his hand for silence. "Admiral Thompson, what are our chances of victory?" Thompson's answer was cold and certain. "We're not fighting for victory, sir. We're fighting for justice. The Empire killed our people while they were on a peace mission. We'll make sure that every world in the galaxy knows what they did." The council voted. The decision was unanimous. Earth would go to war. Within hours, hidden shipyards across the solar system sparked to life. Massive warships emerged from their camouflaged berths. Soldiers who had trained in secret for years boarded their vessels. Every ship carried a copy of Walker's final transmission, proof of the Empire's treachery. In his command center, Admiral Thompson watched the fleets gather. His display showed the faces of the 20 murdered diplomats. "We're ready," he said quietly. "We'll make it right." Council Leader Peters joined him, watching Earth's true power reveal itself. "The Empire thinks they know what humanity is capable of," he said. "They're about to learn how wrong they are." The ships began moving into position. Each captain received their sealed orders. Each fleet knew its targets. Years of preparation were about to pay off. As the first wave of Earth's vessels prepared to jump to faster-than-light speed, Admiral Thompson sent one final message to all ships. "Remember Walker. Remember them all. Show no mercy to those who showed none to us." The Empire's 1,000-year reign was about to meet humanity's revenge. The Imperial Defense Station orbiting New Terra hadn't changed its patrol patterns in 50 years. The Empire's commanders saw no reason to change what had always worked. That confidence would be their downfall. Earth's first attack began exactly 1 week after the massacre of Walker's team. 20 Imperial worlds would be hit simultaneously. Admiral Thompson stood on his flagship's bridge, watching the countdown. "All ships report ready," his tactical officer announced. "Strike fleets in position." Thompson looked at the ship's clock. "Commence Operation Walker." Across Imperial space, Earth's hidden fleets appeared from faster-than-light travel at precisely calculated points. The Empire's unbeatable detection systems never saw them coming. Earth's scientists had cracked those systems' weaknesses years ago. At New Terra, the Imperial Station's commander was enjoying his morning meal when alarms began blaring. His coffee cup crashed to the floor as he saw 5 massive Earth warships materialize inside his defense perimeter. "Impossible," he shouted. "No one can jump that close to a station." The Earth ships opened fire. Their weapons were nothing like the advanced technology Walker had shown the Empire. These were the real weapons humanity had developed in secret. The station's shields, which could normally withstand days of bombardment, collapsed in seconds. Similar scenes played out across Imperial space. Earth's ships appeared inside defensive grids, bypassing security measures the Empire thought were perfect. Military bases that had never been attacked in centuries fell within minutes. On the Imperial capital world Glory Prime, Emperor Marcus III was woken by panicked advisors. "My lord," General Williams reported, his face pale with fear, "we're under attack. 20 systems at once. Our outer defenses they're just gone." "Impossible," the Emperor shouted, echoing his commanders across space. "How dare they? Launch the Imperial fleet. Crush these primitives." But the Imperial fleet found itself fighting an enemy that knew all its tactics. Earth's ships moved in ways Imperial commanders had never seen, using battle strategies developed specifically to counter Imperial training. Admiral Thompson watched the reports flood in. Status of primary targets: 15 Imperial bases destroyed. His officer reported, 5 more under heavy attack. Enemy fleet movements are exactly as predicted. They're responding just like the simulations showed. Thompson nodded grimly. The Empire's military followed patterns and protocols that were centuries old. Earth had studied those patterns for years, preparing counters for each one. On New Terra, the Imperial commander watched helplessly as Earth's ships methodically destroyed every military installation in the system. But they left civilian targets completely untouched. This wasn't random destruction. This was surgical precision. Each destroyed Imperial base received the same transmission: footage of Walker's diplomatic mission and its brutal end. Earth wanted everyone to know why this was happening. The Emperor's pride had cost him dearly. In just 6 hours, Earth's forces had destroyed more Imperial military power than any enemy had managed in centuries. "My lord," General Williams reported, his voice shaking, "the outer systems are reporting rebellions. They saw the transmission about the diplomats. 3 sector governors have already declared independence from the Empire." The Emperor's face twisted with rage. "Send in the planet killers. Show them what happens to traitors." We can't, my lord." Earth's forces somehow knew where they were hidden. The planet killer ships were their first targets. They're all destroyed. In his command ship, Admiral Thompson received the final reports of the first strike. 19 of 20 targets completely destroyed. The 20th would fall within the hour, and not a single civilian casualty. "Send the second wave," he ordered. This was just the beginning. The Empire had spent 1,000 years building its power through fear and violence. Earth would tear it all down in a matter of weeks. Stage 1 complete. Thompson sent to Earth Council. The Empire's facade of invincibility is broken. Starting Stage 2. The real war was about to begin. 2 weeks after Earth's first strike, the mighty stellar empire was falling apart. In his palace on Glory Prime, Emperor Marcus III watched his empire crumble on dozens of emergency displays. "Another sector has fallen," reported Lord Richards, his voice trembling. "The Centaur worlds have declared themselves independent. They're asking Earth for protection." The Emperor smashed his Golden Throne's control panel. "Traitors, all of them. Where is our fleet? Why haven't they crushed these humans yet?" General Williams stepped forward, looking much older than he had 2 weeks ago. "My lord, we've lost contact with 60% of our warships. The humans, they're not just destroying our forces. They're showing everyone how they do it. Other worlds are copying their tactics." On the frontier world of New Haven, the Imperial governor watched Earth's ships enter orbit. Unlike the Empire's vessels, which would have immediately demanded surrender or opened fire, these ships transmitted a simple message: "People of New Haven, we've disabled your Imperial defenses. Your governor has 2 choices: surrender power to locally elected officials, or watch us destroy every Imperial military installation on your world. You have 1 hour to decide. Civilians will not be harmed. The governor looked at his own troops, seeing the fear and uncertainty in their eyes. Everyone had seen the recordings of Ambassador Walker's murder. Everyone had watched Earth's forces tear apart the invincible Imperial military. He made his choice. "I surrender," he announced, becoming the 47th Imperial governor to do so that week. Admiral Thompson, coordinating Earth's campaign from his flagship, received the report with grim satisfaction. "Add New Haven to the protected systems list," he ordered. "Move the fleet to the next target." His tactical officer spoke up. "Sir, we're getting interesting reports from Imperial military units. Some of their commanders are refusing orders from Glory Prime. They're saying the Emperor has lost the mandate of heaven." Thompson allowed himself a small smile. Just as Earth had predicted, the Empire's own military was turning against its leaders. 1,000 years of absolute power had made the Empire's elite cruel and arrogant. Now their subjects could see a different way. On Glory Prime, the Imperial Palace was in chaos. Lords and military commanders who had served the Emperor loyally for decades were suddenly missing, fleeing with their families to distant estates. Everyone could see which way the wind was blowing. "My lord," General Williams said carefully, "perhaps we should consider opening negotiations with Earth." "Never." Emperor Marcus II shouted. "I will not bow to primitives. Launch the doomsday weapons. Burn their worlds." "We can't, my lord," Williams replied. Someone has transmitted the launch codes to Earth. All our superweapons are either destroyed or under their control." The Emperor turned pale. "Impossible. Only the highest council members knew those codes." "Exactly," said Lord Richards, drawing a weapon. "We serve you loyally, but you threw away 1,000 years of power because you couldn't accept that humans might be our equals. The council has voted. Your reign is over." But before Richards could fire, alarms blared throughout the palace. Earth's ships had been detected approaching Glory Prime itself. Not a small fleet, hundreds of vessels, more than anyone had thought humanity could build. "How?" the Emperor whispered, watching the tactical display. "How did they build so much, so secretly?" The answer was simple. While the Empire had grown lazy with power, humanity had prepared tirelessly. While Imperial nobles played political games, Earth had built an army designed specifically to tear their empire apart. The liberation of Glory Prime was about to begin, and with it, the final phase of Earth's revenge for the murder of their diplomats. Admiral Thompson sent a final message to all ships. "Remember Walker. Today we end the Empire." The battle for Glory Prime lasted exactly 3 hours. Earth's fleet descended through the capital's defenses like water through a broken dam. But unlike the Empire's traditional tactics of brutal destruction, humanity showed a different kind of strength. Admiral Thompson stood on his flagship's bridge, watching the precision strikes take out military targets while carefully avoiding civilian areas. "Status report. Imperial defense grid is down," his tactical officer replied. "Their remaining ships are surrendering. Ground forces have laid down arms in 16 major cities. No civilian casualties reported." Thompson nodded, remembering Walker's last message. Earth had chosen justice over vengeance, showing the galaxy a better way to use power. In the Imperial Palace, Emperor Marcus II watched his guards throw down their weapons as Earth's soldiers entered the throne room. Lord Richards and the other council members had already surrendered, turning over evidence of centuries of Imperial crimes. "How dare you enter my throne room?" the Emperor shouted, still clinging to his 1,000 years of authority. The Earth commander removed his helmet, revealing a face that looked remarkably like Admiral Stone's. "I'm Colonel Stone," he said. "Admiral Stone was my mother. She died in this city, murdered while on a peace mission. But unlike you, we don't kill defenseless people." Instead of execution, the Emperor and his war council faced trial. Representatives from 300 worlds gathered to witness the proceedings. Earth insisted on fair trials, even for those who had shown no mercy to Walker and his team. 1 month after Glory Prime's fall, Council Leader Peters addressed the gathered representatives of former Imperial worlds. The Empire ruled through fear for 1,000 years, he said. Earth could take their place, rule as they did, but that's not why we fought. Ambassador Walker came here offering friendship between equals. His death showed us the Empire's true nature. His memory will show us a better way forward. The new Galactic Confederation was born that day. Every world would have an equal voice. Military power would defend, not oppress. Trade would flow freely between stars. The principles Walker died trying to establish became the foundation of a new era. Admiral Thompson, watching from his flagship, received the final casualty reports from the entire war. Earth's careful planning and precise strikes had kept civilian deaths to near zero. The Empire's mighty military had fallen, but its people were free. Send the final message to all ships, he ordered. Operation Walker is complete. In the Great Hall of the former Imperial Palace, now the Confederation Assembly, they placed a memorial. 20 holographic figures stood in a circle, Walker's diplomatic team, forever remembered. Below them, written in every language of known space, were Walker's last words. Remember us. Remember why. But it wasn't just a memorial to the dead. It was a reminder of choices. The Empire had chosen violence against peace, fear over friendship. Humanity had chosen justice over vengeance, protection over dominion. Those choices had changed the galaxy forever. 5 years later, a school group visited the assembly. Their teacher, a former Imperial citizen, explained the memorial's meaning. The Empire thought strength meant making others fear you, she said. Earth showed us it really means having the power to destroy your enemies, but choosing to help them instead. One child looked up at Walker's hologram. Weren't the humans angry? Why didn't they destroy everything like the Empire would have? Because, said the teacher, they wanted to prove they were better than those who had killed their people. And they did. They rebuilt what the Empire broke. They protected those the Empire would have destroyed. That's why we're free today. In orbit above Glory Prime, Earth's ships still patrolled, but now they protected a galaxy united in peace, not fear. Walker's dream of cooperation between worlds had come true, though not in the way he planned. The stars shone on a new age, built on the lesson humanity had taught the galaxy. True strength lies not in the power to take life, but in the wisdom to preserve it.